So today's topic, it's really about selling during the pandemic and really helping your client through the crisis. I am going to make sure you get to leave so that you on time at 3:30, so you get to attend the wrap up session with Mark. So let's dive right in. If you have any questions, um, leave it in the comment section, and we'll try to catch it all at once at the end, right? Change Connect, let me tell you a little bit about us. We've been around for the last 10 years. We're a sales consultancy where we go in and we help various different organizations, especially B2B organizations, to transform their sales processes and ensure that sales become a scalable, be as scalable as possible, whether through change in the strategy, change or help with the strategy, change in the process and the technology. And, our claim to fame is that, we are change agent above all else. That is in our name and hands. We're able to really transform an organization from a sales perspective to allow for the ROI to return on your investment. Today's I was wondering if you guys have anything particular you want me to share so that we can add it into the deck. Anything? Okay, feel free to enter the comment as you need, okay? And then I will catch those later. So let's start off by talking about the sales process. What is it that we're doing from a process standpoint? And if you look at the modern B2B sales landscape, and we talk about the pandemic and we talk about how pandemic had fundamentally changed the way we work. Yes, completely agree. But if you boil, strip strip out all the fancy component of sales. Sales at its core really is the ability to help clients succeed, whatever it is doing, right? You want to cook an amazing meal. So you want to buy the best pot for you to do so. If you want to be able to increase sales, you work with a CRM so that you're able to track the numbers and hence make incremental improvement from stage to stage. So sales at the core of it all is helping a client succeed. And when a client do well, we do well. And boiling it down to the tactics of it is number one, we want to understand, what the buyer want. We want to establish trust and relationship with our buyer. We want to help opposed to close our prospect, and we want to help our prospect achieve next steps. When you look at the sales pipeline by stages, this is a very generic pipeline that we use. There's 5 stages, goes from awareness and lead generation all the way to close. And when you look at even this very generic sales pipeline by stage, when we're talking about closing, the adage is, always be closing. I don't know, guys. There are just so many stages before closing that we have to deal with before we close. So well, I guess as some purse string is drawn right now, and it's it might be tighter to get some capital investments. But at the core of sales, if you look at it, even this very generic pipeline, 4 of the 5 stages have nothing to do with close. So the key really is to get enough volume in through the pipeline such that when people are ready to close, you're ready to there to close them when the fiscal budget closes. If now they are investing in that capital investment, the machine that you need, whatever it is, it sort of allows you to be ready to catch that opportunity when the opportunity arises. When you look at the customer centric value of what we bring to the table, a lot of times, as I talk to salespeople, as I talk to partners of the firm, everyone thinks that, they're building $500 an hour, $750 an hour, $375 an hour, whatever it is. Everyone thinks it's because you're able to deliver the good. They're paying for the good. But I want to question, what is the difference between the 750 an hour, partner versus the 375 per hour partner 175, 90, whatever it is. What is the fundamental difference? It's the ability to create value for their customer beyond what is it that they are doing, whether it is the year end, whether it is to help them through audit. There is certain stuff that you're helping. Perhaps the emotional support, the advisor, the person that they can always call when they have a problem. Or, I have a particular client, they are very interesting. They like to work with us on the very tactical stuff and to pick up their salespeople's performance. But on the sales training side, they want to hire this particular firm out of the States because they said, well, everyone else in my industry is using them. I don't think they're doing any good, so I'm going to hire you guys as well to help pick up some of the behavior of our underperforming rep, but I also have to buy this other US firm. So there's also a status symbol that comes along with buying certain purchase, even as simple as sales training. So it's very interesting. When I talk about this guy, I always talk about people that buy Chanel, for example. If Chanel goes on sale, Chanel would not have a business because people that buy Chanel buys it for its social status. And once you take away the social status with everything else you have in the package, you sort of take it, you when you strip the core value of what your customer is looking for in terms of buying this particular product, they're not buying the bag. They're buying the social status. You gotta understand your place in the marketplace. Poll time. So for you, what do you believe is your value for your customer? Do you think it's emotional? Do you think it's social? Or do you think it's functional? Share that with me in the comments. What do you guys think? And it could be all of them, right? It all comes down to what your customer needs. And I always look at value as a building block, right? So if I have one type of value, I can charge this much. If I have another type of value, I can charge a little bit more. And if I have another type of value, I can charge a little bit more. So that's um as you've built your value block for your customer, it allows you to have bigger margin. So always come back down to the value. And this morning I had a session on building value with the customer. We talked about serving sushi. If your location, if you serve your sushi, if you are right downtown at, let's say, Ryerson University, students are looking for 8 to 13 bucks, grab and go lunch. If you serve what you would serve down at Bay Street, same sushi perhaps, same chef, but if you serve it down at Young and Egg for dinner for the young professional versus at Ryerson for the student versus the sushi down at Bay Street, completely different price point. So what? And as a matter of fact, if they are whining and dining client, if you're whining and dining client $8 a sushi plate, that actually may not fly. So understand where you fit in the value chain of your customer allows you to service them better and also find the margin that is necessary to make your business a better business. The other thing that we're talking about, especially during COVID time, I don't know about you guys because I'm not sure. I mean, for the most part, accounting is an essential service. But when you look at a lot of different organizations that we help, we look at the value chain, especially for now, because you want to be able to, the primary activity there, if we look at the Porter's value chain, is those are the value we bring to the table to the client, inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales and service, right? Those are the money making department. So how can we make more money from our primary activity and spend less at our supporting activity? And I'm not saying skim your client. I'm saying find a way to be more efficient in the firm infrastructure, find a way to be more efficient in the human resource management, the technology development, the procurement, coming down to, procurement in terms of QA and deficiencies, HR dealing with less turnover, better hire technique, tons of things that we can do in terms of efficient and bringing the cost of the supporting activity down, bringing up a bigger margin. A lot of times, especially during COVID and during the restart phase, a lot of firms are looking into that because now through the COVID, we want to operate. There is a change agent. I hate to say it. Sometimes we push and push for technology changes, and our clients say, no, timing is not right. Next quarter, next year, next fiscal. whatever that is. Yet, back in April time, all our clients want to understand sales technology. They want to know understand how to remote sell. They want to understand all that because now they're COVID is the best change agent. So this time during the reset time, it sort of allows us to look at our business model in a way that makes sense from a dollar and cent perspective and increase the margin based on what we know of our customers' value. What a lot of times people do it based on their own value, their own process. You really should challenge that from from a client perspective. And this is an interesting concept that we've been throwing at our client is you know traditionally in a B2B business, you look for how can I help my client do their best, whether that is getting them to be more efficient, more effective, streamline resources, better turnover, whatever it is. It becomes a one layer value equation. My naturally north client, they serve they are a wholesaler of natural food and organic product, and one of their clients is Winco Food Mart. Traditionally, the conversation have always been around, how can we make sure your shelf is stocked? How can we give you more your trade dollars? How can we talk about advertising? How can we collaborate on some advertising and joint activity and booths? So traditionally the conversation is very B2B based. How can we collaborate, at the best of time in terms of people collaborating instead of just pushing values onto the next person? But, in the last few months, our conversation have been, more probing for our client in terms of, okay, I'm going to help you to help your client, right? So Envision, we were talking to them about, that they have they are a marketer for a local grocery store, village grocer, and with the village grocer, you know, for a long time people weren't going out to get grocery, and they are not set up to logistically send the grocery like they would in Instacart. So getting ahead of it and figuring out your client, village grocer, what are they afraid of? Really getting to the bottom of that and understanding what's people's hesitation in coming to the grocery store. It's a necessity, so it's good. But what are some criteria that allows them to do that? And from a marketer standpoint, how can we have the COVID conversation be out there such that the COVID scared isn't sitting in the back of someone's mind, so that they will go to another grocery store rather than a local grocery store, right? So really getting ahead of it, not just about helping village grocer, but about helping village grocers clients. So far so good. All right. So in terms of the strategy, this is also during the time of reset, another conversation to have as well is, where is our core value? How are we moving along? A lot of times we used to talk about strategy when we want to grow, right? Now, COVID caused us to talk about strategy as a way of survival. So we always use the Ansoff matrix as a matrix that we use to discuss expansion. So you have, I think, um, existing market or new market, existing customer or new customer. Where do you play? Do you want to play in the existing market, existing customer zone? Then you want to make sure that you have a strategy for market penetration. Do you want to play in a new market segment, but existing product area? Then you want to have a strategy and tactics in terms of market development, right? Moving on, if you want to you want to deal with existing market, but you want to sell them new product, which is a very, very good quadrant to play, right? You know your market best, you know your customer base best. What else do they need? Thinking beyond your traditional product that you can offer them that allows you to leverage the trust that they have in you already, and also allows them not to go shop somewhere else, because the last thing anyone want to do right now is to manage multiple vendors. So in that area, you want to make sure you have a strategy in place for product development. Last but not least, you have new market, obviously new product as well, and that's diversification. And that's, everybody and their uncle a few months ago were doing PPE. Less now because there's less margin in it, but for sure everybody was doing PPE, right? Everyone's just trying to find a way to survive. And this is a very good metrics for you to consider as you try to figure out, as you reset, where do you want your firm to grow? Are you offering more than the service you provide now? Are you going to bring a new partner that allows you to have more in-house expertise? Or are you going to penetrate into a market that you never penetrate? But let's say you generally work off the high end of the small mid-sized business, right? Are you going to offer your service to maybe startups, right? VC funded startups, maybe. So understanding that, and then the marketing that goes along with expanding into new market and the new business development pieces allows you to have a very structured approach to growth, and in this case, maybe a very structured approach to maintain sales. So far, so good. Excellent. So I'm going to leave you with a few tips today to sort of lessen or survive in the extended effect of the pandemic. Number one is to think beyond the current account. So whatever you're servicing them, nice, you are enjoying 80% repeat customer base that buy exactly the same thing. This firm always come and do the annual audit, or the firm always come to do the annual tax, the year-end taxes. But perhaps you look at your client base and you say, you know what, I do have an aging client database, and perhaps they want to start a conversation about succession planning, estate planning, right? There, you're really leveraging what you have, the trust and the relationship you have, and offering things that they also need, guiding them along the way to ensure that the average deal size and the average customer in your life cycle, it grows, the amount is bigger. So understanding that life cycle of the client and be able to proactively start some of these conversations with them. Number two is flipping the sales script. You can't sell right now just selling anymore, right? You're flipping the sales group that allows you to listen a bit more. What exactly is our client looking for? What support do they need? What are they looking for from their accountant, right? And their accounting team. What is and truly understand, instead of the same conversation year after year, knowing that they're going to buy the same thing year over year. The ability to listen and be able to extract and be a friend and be able to support, that's ultimately what's going to happen, and be able to get us through this particular pandemic. Because a lot of sales theory out there, they're talking about the fact that the pandemic isn't like a recession, right? There's more government support than ever before, but the government support is different than what they used to be in the recession, so causing consumer behavior to change. Not all segment is affected. Some businesses are actually thriving because of it. So it's a very complex ecosystem to maneuver. So the talking, the understanding of what the client is going through, and really flipping the sales script that address such scenario will get you a long way. As a matter of fact, for our business, for example, we have a very robust sales pipe. And we have always worked off a sales pipe where we intake about 70% of our client. I would even say 80% of our client are net new every year, because we really, like, just the way that our business work, we've always had new customers. And through the transition, actually, we now we're selling longer contracts, better deals to existing customers, because I'm leveraging number one and two. I'm having conversation with them, trying to get them through, understanding what is it that they need to do, and helping, right? And leveraging the relationship I have with them, leverage the knowledge I have of the client already to help them get to the next stage. So now, from a 70-30 new repeat business portfolio, I would say we're dealing with maybe a 70-30 the other way around, right? Majority of our sales right now comes from people that already know us, trust us, and they're repeatedly buying different things from us because they know we can help the situation. Number three is leverage referral. Statistics shows that 92% of happy customers will give referral, and yet only 11% of the rep would ever ask for a referral. So make asking for a referral, leveraging these referral a habit in your um, sales process, right? Sometimes my partners, my partners is they're my CPA partner, they tend not to want to ask, right? Because they have a relationship, they don't want to feel like someone else is doing them a favor. But trust me, if you flip it the other way around, if somebody has a problem and your client is able to help them resolve it by introducing you to them, it actually makes them look like a rock star, right? That they know people that are experts in certain areas. That so it actually is a win-win situation as long as you can start to have that conversation about referrals. Last but not least is don't stop. So as we're talking to law firms, as we're talking to accounting firms, one of the things that comes back to us as is, there's no sales out there. People will buy what they buy. There's no point in having conversation. Just forget it, right? It's a sentiment at least up to before the summer. And our if you think back to what I mentioned earlier in the slides about sales process, right? Not everything is about the close. There's so many things and so much that we need to do before the close. Don't give up on selling just because you can't close somebody right now. Keep doing the right thing, right? You're measuring the means to the end. If you keep doing the right means, the end will come. So don't stop selling because you think you can't close. Activity is definitely happening. So it is about being there at the right place at the right time so that people can leverage your help.